All right, I have 5:30, so let's make it official.
Yeah.
And call to order. Sorry, I'll bear with me 1 second. Okay, 5:30. Daniel, do you have any public comment?
No, ma'am.
Since you're the
Thank
only
you.
public.
Thanks for asking.
Okay, new business. Here's our item for today. The air conditioner unit that services the office side of the building we need to make a decision whether to repair it or go ahead and replace. The unit is 15 years old. We have been making repairs and I would say limping it along, making repairs and making do for about 3-4 years now. We changed all of the ductwork about 5 years ago, addressing leaking and condensation and things like that. So that is not really the issue. It's the unit itself. So the bid that we got from our AC company that we use, EV Air, if y'all have a copy of it, needs a blower motor to be replaced. It won't fire up at all, so they believe that it's the blower motor. Their caution to us is, once we get that in there, there could be something else, but we can't diagnose any further because we can't get it to run. The inside unit, this is not the outside, but they work in harmony together. So you're down in where it says notes, to replace the blower motor and a bracket that it's sitting on is $3,600. He called me specifically to talk to me about that because the price for that motor is so high. They called twice, double checked to make sure that is accurate because the part is apparently gone up significantly. So I asked him to also give us an option for replacement. So what you see here are heat pump and electric. Well, both are electric, but heat and air or a heat pump. We have a heat pump today. Actually, both of our units are heat pumps. They've served us well. We haven't had any problem with heating in the winter. The objective from a heat pump is to be more efficient and cost less to run in the winter. It's not any better or worse than traditional for summer. But it also costs a little bit more. So at the bottom where you see alternate proposal, the American standard heat pump is $10,975. He didn't really write it out clearly, so that's why the clarification discussion. Where you look in the box that says total credit card or finance is $9,975. That would be for the straight, cool, and electric. So it's about $1,000 more if we decide to continue using heat pump. So I called him and asked him the question that you had, Eric, about the SEER rating being only 14. And by the way, both are 14, the heat pump and the traditional. He says the payback takes much, much longer. It's more expensive. They were trying to give us not the bottom of the barrel, but a good price for what we actually need. The units that we have now are essentially overkill for what we need in this building. It's 2-stage, variable speed. It has electronic boards, and that's fine. But if we want to replace with that same level right now, it's about $18,000. And there's really not a reason that we should have to have that variable speed. And the electronics, they asked, first question, do you ever get power surges here and power outages? I'm like, yes. So that electronic board is susceptible. I don't know if it's ever been replaced, but if we could not go to electronic without reducing the amount of service that we get, then we could reduce our risk. And he says that 14 is standard for businesses versus at home. They're doing most of that for their commercial. If they want something with a higher rating, they are absolutely willing to quote us whatever we want. But this is what I ask for. Give me the best value for money, and we don't need bells and whistles. just for the sake of having them, as long as we get the same service level.
And this is what they're recommending that we need, okay.
Right. So what you've got there is Lennox for both.
That's a good one.
He gave 2 different model numbers because one's electric, one's heat pump.
I don't have a heat pump. Any of you guys have? I don't know.
We do.
what-
I've had it before.
Mhm.
I know.
Didn't work for me in spring. We didn't find it. And when it got real cold, because if you remember, well, this is going years back. When it got real cold for a couple of days, the heat pump just doesn't keep it warm. So I gave up on heat pumps at that point. It's just my own personal thing.
Mhm.
I have a question though, if you're ready for questions or whatever.
Sure.
So in this guy's analysis of the current unit, did he check the capacitor? Did he check? That's the most common thing that goes out, that they make a bunch of money on. They come in. I just had a capacitor change because the air conditioner wouldn't do anything. And the guy comes out there and I said, it's probably a capacitor because I've had other ones changed. He opened it up and yeah, he changed the capacitor, $550. And I'm going, I could go buy one at a place and do it myself if I wanted to. But that's the most expensive thing.
Mhm.
That's the first thing they should check because it powers both the fan and the compressor. So if that capacitor has an issue or shorted out or burnt out, you won't start the compressor and you won't start the fan. So my question would be, if it's just a call you can make at some time, did he check the capacitor, number one, and did he check that printed circuit board if he can check it for a fuse that's blown, since it is a heat pump?
They could not, the circuit board itself, they could not diagnose, and that's the item that he mentioned.
Okay.
Like, it's probably fine, or could be fine, but we won't know until we get this up and running.
So the up and running, I think probably would be first for him to check, is to tell me that he did check the capacitor. And it, at different levels.
They were here for 3 hours, so I'm gonna assume, but I will specifically ask that.
Okay.
Should have been the first thing they probably checked. EB, how long have they been doing the AC work for you, for the city?
I don't know if they were our provider with Lou, I would have to ask him, but so for at least 8 years.
Okay. But they've taken care of the city?
Mhm.
Okay.
They have, and they've been really good about giving us repair options, and, you know, let's try something different before jumping to new equipment, over time.
Well, and Eric and I talked a little bit across the fence when he was griping at me about mowing. And I agree with him like 95%, but I think this time, let's not throw good money after bad and just replace the unit. We could get fancy, but honestly, yesterday I found out I got to buy a brand new refrigerator because my ice makers went out because of electronics. Because we've been keeping these at power blips at $1,900 just to make both my ice makers work. So we're at Lowe's shopping. I'm like, might as well buy a new one for that one.
Well, the refrigerant's also changed.
Huh?
The refrigerant that's required inside there's also changed, so
Yeah.
January 1st, 2025, all of the units have to use, any new units have to use this new refrigerant. You still have parts up until the end of, till they run out.
It's going to get dicey over the next 4 or 5 years.
Well, that old refrigerator is twice as much as it used to be as well. of course.
Well, it will be, and as it goes up and it's depleted, whoever's going to pay X dollars can get the work done. Which means if we repair it, costs are gonna go up just to repair it and keep going, or we're gonna jump right back and just spend in this amount. That's,
Well, my only thought on repair versus replace is, we got one bid, it's significant money, and somebody who knows different brands, et cetera, would be able to come in and bid fairly rapidly. I mean, you've done without air conditioning for a little while, but could you work it here? Because they're not always here anyway, right? So we've been minimizing the
We're here every day.
on-site. Huh?
We're here most,
So they're here.
Oh,
Most of us is here almost all the
every
time.
day.
Yeah.
We're not here every day, I don't think.
No, she is.
And then there's just Julie, it's just Julie.
Do you, and I didn't ask you this in advance, but if you had to, somebody gave us a roundabout answer, how much money do you think that we've put into repairing this over the past couple of years? Do you have any idea?
Would be absolute guess.
Okay.
I think we've spent 1,000 here, a couple thousand there.
Okay.
minor.
Well, if it's already to the point where it's outdated in a sense that there's new stuff, new coolant, like, I don't understand the point of of repairing
The
it.
unit's 15 years old. Right
No, that's
now,
what I'm
we're
saying,
putting
I don't-
Band-Aids on it, so
Yeah,
I'm with
I don't-
Andy, replace it.
Same.
Need it.
So, again, based on the amount of capital we're gonna spend and where we gotta get it from, and the fact that the other unit is also 15 years old, so what you're doing here is you're kind of making a decision of what you're gonna do the next time, because you're just gonna repeat it, I guarantee you, we're just gonna do the same thing. And that's why I say it may be important just to have someone else just give you a quick bid. We know what the specs are. The specs are right here. You can make a phone call and get a bid. Or I could if you want me to, but it's just, we're setting a precedent, and we want it to be correct, because we got another unit, it's gonna go out, and you got the same issues with the Freon and everything else.
When it goes out, or, yeah.
And it may go out tomorrow, for all we know.
Yeah, exactly.
Knock on wood on that, sir. Obviously, council, this is your decision. I think $3,600 is a big number to spend, so that we can, I mean, would we get a difference in a bid? That would equal 3,600, or more than 3,600?
But I don't think repairing it either way is an ideal solution.
Repairing is 33% of the cost of the new one, so.
That's what I'm saying, like, I don't think, even if you did get a new
Get
bid for
yeah,
both,
move
I
a
don't
new-
think.
I agree with getting a second quote, just so they'll have a apples to oranges.
So my last attempt before y'all try to vote. The SEER rating does bother me also.
Okay.
I'm sorry, but they say that, they, you know, for commercial this, commercial that, and he's creating this as a commercial and giving you a 1-year guarantee. That's all. If I put one in my house, I get a 10 to 20-year guarantee for the same unit. So think about that. And the product warranty is not necessarily from the person who builds the product, it's from him. He's gonna have to honor any product warranty and get it corrected if something goes wrong. So I get, my feeling is we ought to go with a little bit higher SEER, even if it's just a 16 or 18, that's gonna lower your electric bill. We all know that, I've experienced it. All right, and so if you're gonna ask for maybe change in spec to let him bid to 16 to 18 unit with just no heat pump, make it a standard one with a 15 kilowatt heater in it, and see what we get. And if he'd probably give you that bid tomorrow. Just retype this and say, we're only looking at new, and we're only looking at raising the SEER, and we're only looking at X, Y, Z. And my personal opinion is at least get one other bid from somebody local. We have air conditioning people in the subdivision.
Thank you, sir, I appreciate that.
All right.
Anybody else have comments or questions before we?
When can this company have it completed for you?
They can get the equipment that they've quoted within a day. So they, I doubt I could notify them tomorrow and have it done
No.
tomorrow, but they
Sure.
could be here Tuesday. Which, you know, is also important because we have had that side of the building with no air since Wednesday. Tuesday or Wednesday. Tuesday, because we had council here. So we're coming up on a week. I'm not seeing any mold or mildew yet, but we do not want to continue to dawdle because there's water in the pan under the unit above the office in there too.
It's not draining.
I didn't see it with my eyes, but they told me there's water in the pan, so we gotta get this thing going and fix back up, if we're gonna fix it, or repair it.
You know, I don't think, so I view this like I do work. My first impression, we'll do 3,600 and look for an alternate picture, but you need to get it fixed. The bid's not bad. I mean, I just replaced a $20,000 unit and it was twice the size, so the ton versus the price. To me, and it's all the stuff, right? It's a whole new system. I don't think it's that bad. I think let's just get it done. We gotta get you guys back in the offices, especially Julie.
So you have an option, you can make motions for whatever you want, but since we have new people, you can make a motion, you can make a decision and say, we're willing to spend up to this dollar amount. So if I get the answer about a 16 or 18 SEER, and they've already checked the, whatever it was, capacitor. What is capacitor?
Yeah, for sure.
And, you know, whatever parameters you want to put on it. That way, you've approved up to this limit. If you get information that means it's going to be more than this, then we want to come back and revisit.
Did you say, Mayor, I mean, I understand commercial for a city, but this is like a small house. I mean, Eric does kind of raise a point, I'd at least get a 5-year on the unit outside. I mean, the commercial side, why does it have to be commercial? Can't it
I
just
think
be-
his point was just that, like, nobody lives here, so overnight, typically, you're not running it as hard as you might at your house.
House.
So the efficiency, although it's still important, it's often done differently just because.
True. And you want it simple.
Mhm.
You want it to turn on and turn off.
Well, yeah, but if you're running less, it lasts longer.
Should.
Not necessarily.
Unless there's a leak.
No, because if you hammer something high and down, so it's like if you get in a car and you just floor all the time, it's gonna burn the motor up faster. Same thing with AC, so if it's off at night and it kicks on and has to ramp up and run for longer to cool the room down, it can reduce the life.
So the worst thing is cycling, right? So if you have way too much tonnage, it's gonna cycle off real quick, off and on, off and on. That will ruin the compressor over time, a lot quicker, right?
For sure.
All right, so I'll make a motion. I move that we ask EV Air to quote a unit with a minimum of 16 SEER and an amount not to exceed $15,500. And if they exceed it, we revisit this.
So you're just saying,
Okay,
go
so you're
from a
making-
14, I'm sorry, go ahead. I just want to make sure I was clarifying that you want to go from a 14 to a 16 SEER.
Excuse me, we don't have a
Right.
second yet, we can't discuss it now.
That's okay, she's clarifying,
I
we're
said I wanted to
clarifying your
clarify,
motion.
I
before
don't
we
want to
move on.
second it if I
Okay.
don't understand it. That you're just saying you want to go from a 14 to a 16,
Mhm.
and that to raise it up to 15.5, and that, but if they come back and say, yeah, we'll do it at 14, then we're going to move ahead.
It's gonna go.
But so you're, okay, just want to make sure that I was following you.
And so your motion includes replacement,
Yes.
just putting the words
Oh, sorry.
into the motion, that's
Want me to
okay.
reread?
That's okay, I got you. Do we have a second?
So we're saying yes, replace it for 10,975 if they can't get 16 SEER less than 15.5.
I think we're saying,
No,
I
I'm
think
not
we're
saying
saying
that. I'm saying we
we're-
revisit.
we want the higher SEER rating. In this motion, we're asking for the higher SEER rating, and if it costs more than 15.5, then we will revisit the discussion. The
No,
council's
Which would
approval.
have to come back.
That's right. We have to
No.
come back. Okay, but do I have a second on the, we have a motion on the floor. Okay, the motion dies for lack of a second. Do we have a new motion?
you could do what Andy just said, go with Eric's original motion, but if it doesn't come back under what 15.5, then go ahead with what they have recommended.
I would have seconded that.
Yeah. Okay.
And that way we can make a
So Kelly made the
decision.
motion.
I'll second that.
Wait a while.
And
Read my
Andy's-
motion is
just one
and your
second.
motion.
Your motion, give me just 1 second because I
Okay.
gotta get the notes. Or the original option. All right, we have a first and a second. Any further discussion?
Yes.
Go, just 1 second, Justin, go ahead.
My question is on that motion, because there's two options here. There's a heat pump and then there's a non-heat pump option. In the motion, it doesn't state which one of the two.
Would you like to add that to your motion, ma'am?
Sure. The heat pump motion,
The heat pump option,
yes.
yes. She would add the heat pump option under her motion.
Okay.
Do I still need to second that one?
I think she
Or
should.
just add that? So I second.
All right.
Can we discuss that?
Oh, sure.
So, as long as it's done by tomorrow, so we can get this done.
It's not gonna happen, but you can,
Well,
you wanna
no,
add that to your
it-
motion, okay?
Well, but if they can get a quote tomorrow and it's not below 15.5, then she goes ahead and orders the heat pump AC system.
That's your motion. That's her motion.
So I want to
That you
add to
second.
it by the end of tomorrow. Then that way she
Okay,
can
but
say.
it's her
yes.
motion, so she could,
I'll add to it. and say, if we can get a quote tomorrow for the 16 SEER, and if it's below the 15.5, go with it, but if it's not, then go with the 10,975.
Second.
And the heat pump.
And
The other one is not a heat pump.
Yeah, that-
Yeah,
that's
The
the price- that's the
10,975
amount.
covers the heat pump.
All right,
Sorry.
any other discussion on this
Did you have time?
motion that's been made?
Yes.
What's your question?
Okay. First of all, I am opposed to this as written.
Okay,
and
but you'll
as-
just do that in a minute by voting no.
Discussion. Well, I could do that, but I could also try to persuade somebody to vote a
Well,
different
but we have a
way.
motion on the floor already.
Right, and this is
So,
discussion.
you don't usually try and persuade someone else during this part. If you have questions or clarifications, then ask her. Give us a sample of what you're talking about.
Respectfully, I think when you're in discussion, you can discuss anything to do with that motion. And-
Okay.
and
So what's your
But we're
question?
not in
It's not a
discussion, we're
question,
in the
it's a
motion.
discussion. Excuse me, there's a motion and a
Okay,
second,
so
then you do a
Eric,
discussion.
what is your question?
My question is, why would we not have approved this by itself, on its own, and not entertain the other motion, my motion, which couldn't get a second, and now you're putting my motion there as a stipulation saying, if you do this, you do it.
Because you specifically said that if that 15.5 didn't pass, we would have to come back for another meeting. And what we're saying is, if that 15.5 doesn't pass, then go with that 10,975. These people need relief. Could you be in your house for a week without AC?
Yes,
I could not,
yes, I put fans all over the place, in
No.
the windows.
no.
Hey, I grew up with no air conditioning for 18 years, so don't tell me I can't.
You might be able to, but I doubt the rest of us do.
So we got a second motion.
So do you have
We
some
already
That wasn't a
seconded
question.
it.
comments or
It wasn't a
questions?
question. No, I'm done, I'm
Oh.
done.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Wait, I'm sorry, can you read the motion and try, because you were taking messages, I want to make sure we don't make any error on this for you.
So we have a request for a quote for a 16 SEER, no more than $15,500 tomorrow, heat pump.
No,
If,
no heat pump.
yes, it is in the motion as a heat pump,
The one I made or the one they did? I'm
the one that
sorry.
Kelly made.
That's why I'm asking to reread this, because,
What I'm doing right now.
okay,
It's a heat pump in the motion. If the 16 SEER is not available for 15.5 or less, then we will go back, we will move ahead with the $10,975 option for the 4-ton heat pump that's in the original bid.
okay.
Okay, right?
Lori,
Okay, so-
Lori, I'm sorry, when I asked about heat pump or not, you said, well, it's in there by her motion, but not from the thing I asked for that you're saying
But
comes
yours
first.
failed,
Yeah.
so we start fresh
Oh,
with
okay, so
whatever
she said
Kelly
both are
says.
heat pump.
She has
She made a new motion.
Her motion is heat pump on
Well,
both.
it's not, I can tell you now, it's gonna not be 15.5 because you added a heat pump, just forget it.
Okay, well, so we have a motion and a second, including the heat pump. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed?
Nay.
All right, thank you, everybody. I will call EB first thing in the morning and get the best, most equipment for the money. And Eric, I will ask them just specifically about the capacitor, because that doesn't hurt a single thing.
Okay.
And with that, it's item 5, we will adjourn. It is 5:54.